Hello, this is Jürgen Rasmussen. Welcome to the Provocative Hypnosis blog. This one is about what NLP and hypnosis missed. You can add Western psychology to that mix. What NLP, Western psychology, and hypnosis missed. So to illuminate this, let me give you a little metaphor to start off. In 1895, the first movie was ever shown. It was black and white, no color, at the time, no sound, but a set of still pictures. And the movie lasted for like 90 seconds, and it was a movie of a train moving into a train station. This was the Lumiere brothers, who were pioneers in photography, who did this in Paris in 1895. Now, the really interesting part about this is that the people who saw the movie had no insight into the nature of film. And as a result of it, because it looked as if a train was coming towards them, quite a few of them actually freaked out, panicked, responded with terror, and a few of them actually leaped from their seats to attempt to avoid being smashed by the train. Now, for us, having grown up with modern technology and watching movies and stuff like that, this sounds, completely ridiculous. But the experience was real to the people who had it. And if you were to have asked those folks who leaped from their seats, A, what did you feel? You would likely get responses like, man, my heart is beating, my legs are trembling, sweaty palms, dry mouth. You'd discover that the feelings were real as anything that you're experiencing. And if you would have asked them, where did the feelings come from? They would have pointed at the screen and said, from the train, or from the movie, or from out there. Because of that out there, I have this response in here. Now, it's pretty obvious that the most useful way of helping people not to have that experience is to help them understand the nature of film. The reason why you and I don't leap from our seats when we see a car chase or a train or a shooting scene or a maniac running towards us with a machete, in a movie, the reason why we don't run for cover or freak out or leap from our seats is not because we have more free will. It's not because we're more intelligent necessarily in the classical sense. It's not because we do positive thinking. It's not because we have a mantra. It's not because we're in a particular state or because we do any type of, internal acrobatics, adjusting submodalities, or, have a special breathing technique or anything like that. It still looks real to us as well. The only difference is that we understand the nature of film. We may understand it at a pretty superficial level, meaning we're not Steven Spielberg, I assume. You wouldn't necessarily know how to make the movie, but we understand film enough to know that no matter how real that seems, we know that the movie screen is empty, and that there's really nothing inherently there. And that understanding in and of itself changes our relationship to film dramatically. As a matter of fact, before you understand film to that level, you won't really be able to enjoy film. It's gonna be extremely crucial what seems to appear on the movie screen. Because if the right things appear on the screen, you're going to leap to avoid the train. So controlling the movie, or controlling the contents of the movie, or attempting to have guarantees that certain things won't seem to appear up on the screen, will be of utmost importance for our psychophysiological well-being. It's only when you realize the illusory nature of the experience that you actually have the chance to enjoy film. As soon as you kind of understand the nature of film, that's when you have the freedom to voluntarily get absorbed into it. And if you watch a really good movie, you can be touched, you can cry, you can laugh, you can feel cozy fear, you can experience grief when someone you're fond of in the movie dies, and maybe tears are streaming down your cheeks. But you're not really traumatized. You're not in your mind trying to reframe the experience, or trying to fire off an anchor, or trying to change your state, or trying to analyze your past. You're not working on your thinking, because you know the nature of it, and you know that as soon as the scene changes, the experience will change, and that the scene is constantly changing. Now, what we do in the NLP and hypnosis world, and a lot of what we do is really good, so I'm not knocking that, and what we also do in the world of psychology, cognitive behavioral therapy and rational emotive behavior therapy, and the stuff that seems to actually work. What we're essentially doing is that we're helping people either change the content of their thinking by reframes or disputing thoughts or challenging thought distortions, or we're changing how the movie looks. We may be playing with the tempo, the volume, the rhythm, the size of the images. Are they black and white or color? Is it a movie or a still? And we help people change their experience by kind of tinkering with these submodalities, or we may anchor a particular resource state and link it to a context. Now, I'm not knocking it. I've spent my entire adult life doing this sort of stuff as well, and it's good. But if you go back to the movie, as soon as you understand the nature of film, the idea of working on the movie, kind of loses its appeal. Granted, you'll still have your favorite series or movies or scenes, but on a deeper level, it's not going to matter that much anymore what seems to be temporarily projected onto the screen, because you have a realization of its empty nature, of its constructed nature. This is what NLP and hypnosis lacks. I remember seeing a client many years ago who came to me for fear of public speaking, and he had been to an NLP coach, and to give credit where credit is due, the NLP coach had done a good job. The guy had this classical image in his mind of the audience kind of staring at him with unblinking eyes, and when he saw that image, he felt fear. And the NLP coach had helped him to kind of replace that image with a very different image of a smiling audience, and that felt different. Now, the reason he came to me was because he was kind of concerned that he wouldn't have access to the good image, and that the bad image may come back. And I tried making that representation for myself, and I had this insight where I kind of realized that, wait a minute, there's nothing inherently scary in any of those images. I remember another public speaking client I had who came in and was terrified, and he said, Jürgen, because I asked the traditional NLP questions at the time, what is it that you would want to achieve, and how will we know that you have it, and so on and so forth. And he said, what I want is I want a thundering voice in my mind that just screams out that I'm enough, that I'm good enough. And to him, this made a lot of sense, but I had this belly laugh moment. I just broke down laughing because I could see the ridiculousness of it. Like, I've done a lot of public speaking, and if suddenly this voice appeared in my mind that screamed, "You're enough, you're good enough," that would have been extremely funny. But It it probably wouldn't have contributed to my public speaking experience, in any way, shape, or form. I'd probably find a way to utilize it, but there you go. So I've developed a format, an experiment, a way of working that helps people do what you've already done with yourself regarding the nature of film. I've developed a format. I call it the serial killer experiment because it came to me as I had a client hypnotically hallucinate me as a serial killer in the office, and I had this mind-blowing insights. And a way of helping other people have that insight came to me. And it's a way of helping people realize that their experience is fundamentally empty. The experience itself, when looked at, does not actually have the scary or compulsive qualities that we think it has when we haven't quite looked at it. The illusion that makes it seem as if we have to change our state or change our submodalities or work on the content of our thinking. Now, a difference between this serial killer experiment / format is, of course, it is a format, it is a way of working, but we're not using a technique to create a change or a shift in state. It's a tool to help people see through a psychological illusion. It's a tool, it's a framework that you can reliably use and do to help clients see through a psychological illusion and to discover something truthful about the nature of their own experience. So I've spent the last 22 years at this time doing change work. I've meditated for 26 years. I've explored NLP and hypnosis for over 20 years. I've explored developmental psychology, various forms of psychotherapy. For 8 of those years, I ran a no change, no pay practice with a money-back guarantee. I can tell you this from my heart, this particular way of working is my go-to way of working. It's what consistently gives me the most bang for the buck with the most amount of people. Not everyone resonates with it, but this consistently gives me the most bang for the buck in terms of value. And from the people I'm mentoring, people who study with me, this is also consistently what gives them the most bang for the buck. Howard Cooper and I have just released a product on this serial killer experiment. It's 3 hours of footage. It's live, actual client work where you can see me utilize this with different clients. There's a webinar involved. There's a troubleshooting section. There's a lot of instructions about how you can develop this insight in yourself and with your clients with surgical precision. So if my way of thinking resonates with you, and if you want access to my kind of meat and potato way of working, this one's for you. So if you're interested in it, go to Howard Cooper's website. It's Rapid Change Works. I'll say that again, Rapid Change Works. Go there, look for this serial killer experiment, and I promise you from experience, if you play with that, if you play with it with your clients, your practice will never be the same. This truly is something that NLP, hypnosis, and psychology so far has missed. All right, till next time.